of an argument. And just to finish off, the last couple of slides, the Salafi Wahabi movement's viewpoint. We saw the Sunni school's viewpoint. What do they say? I just went for a few points. So Sheikh Saleh Al Sheikh, so he, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab says this, Bin Baz, the others say this as well, that it's shirk which takes you outside the fold of Islam. You see there, one group of scholars saying it's recommended, other group of scholars saying you're no longer Muslim. It is shirk that a person asks the Prophet ﷺ after his passing away to supplicate for him and to seek forgiveness for him from. Is it shirk? This is the question. Answer, yes, it is shirk al-akbar. Shirk al-akbar means that it takes you outside Islam because the Prophet ﷺ does not supplicate after his passing away. We gave evidence that he does. And those who have understood the words of some of our Imams mean that seeking of dua from the deceased is an innovation. Bid'ah does not negate it being shirk, rather it means that this practice is an innovation which is shirk, bid'ah shirkiyah, meaning it is that which the people of Jahiliyyah practiced. So this is Sheikh Saleh Al Sheikh. He is one of the long-serving of ministers of religious affairs, and I believe he was he's no longer been a minister for about a year or so now. He's one of the longest serving ministers. So this is what he's saying, is shirk which takes us outside the fold of Islam. Then some of them might do a bit of spin, as I like to call it, saying, well, do they have an excuse or not? It's technically shirk al-akbar. Can we make takfir of them? Can we call them non-Muslim? As we covered in the last lecture, according to some of the scholars, yes, that's enough. This is enough to call somebody, meaning, according to them, a number of their scholars, somebody going to Medina Munawwara making dua to the Prophet ﷺ, asking to make dua for them, is enough to remove them from Islam. You see, that's a massive discord between the Sunni position. And that's one of their main figures. And he's alive today, God protect him. I mean, obviously he's trying to do work against extremism, although we quoted him in the last lecture as well, saying a few things which were a bit problematic. So they're trying to battle extremism. Now this, what does that mean for Muslims? Not very, a big problem, as you can probably see. You see in all of that what we talked about, and then here, it's shirk al-akbar, takes you outside the fold of Islam. Some of them might try to argue that because scholars are telling you things that is permitted, then you might have an excuse. We can't technically call you a non-Muslim. But then they would have to argue that the scholars who know that their argument, they know their side of the argument, would have to be labeled as non-Muslim. So, are you going to label all those Imams that we mentioned in the past as non-Muslim? That's a natural, logical conclusion that they would have to answer. And just to finish off, I think just a couple more slides. There are some Salafi Wahabi scholars who do not regard it as shirk al-akbar. Asking the Prophet ﷺ by his noble grave to make dua for you is haram and not shirk al-akbar, according to Shaykh al-Uthaymeen, according to what I found, and Shaykh al-Burak. Although from a distance, I would argue that is still shirk al-akbar. But even these two scholars that I found who don't say shirk al-akbar still don't condemn the ones who say shirk al-akbar. They say we have a difference of opinion, but they don't condemn them as being extreme. They'll say it's a valid position to hold. You see, they're not calling out the people who call it shirk al-akbar. So it's still a problem. It's still a problem for them. And then obviously from a distance, they would still, I would assume, call it shirk al-akbar. Okay, so that's just a brief overview, and then just one